Hello and welcome. Today I'd like to introduce you to Poppy Redfern and the Midnight Murders by Tessa Arlen. Tessa Arlen was born in Singapore, the daughter of a British diplomat. She has lived in Egypt, Germany, the Persian Gulf, China, and India. An English woman married to an American, Tessa lives on the West Coast with her family and 2 corgis. Here's the blurby stuff for Poppy Redfern and the Midnight Murders. Charming and feisty Poppy Redfern stumbles into murder in this exciting new World War II historical mystery series from critically acclaimed author Tessa Arlen. Summer 1942. The world has been at war for 3 long and desperate years. In the remote English village of Little Buffenden, Poppy Redfern's family house and farmland have been requisitioned by the War Office as a new airfield for the American Air Force. As the village's air raid warden, Poppy spends her nights patrolling the village as she tries to ease her neighbors' fears about the friendly invasion and what it means to their quiet way of life. When 2 young, popular women who are dating American servicemen are found strangled, Poppy quickly realizes that her little town has been divided by murder. The mistrust and suspicion of their new American partners in war threatens to tear Little Buffenden apart. Poppy decides to start her own investigation with the help of a charismatic American pilot, and she soon unearths some chilling secrets and long-held grudges. Poppy will have no choice but to lay a trap for a killer so perilously close to home. She might very well be the next victim. And here are some reviews. Different view of World War II and the hardships the families endured. Also, the English weren't as accepting of the Americans as I thought they would have been. I'm looking forward to the next book in the Poppy Redfern series. I liked that there were a number of suspects and that the murderer wasn't easily necessarily the obvious choice. I liked the interesting characters who lived in the village. I liked Poppy, who was attractive and bright, but who lacked a little self-confidence. I liked that she had a hidden life as a writer. I liked her canine companion, Bess. This was an engaging and entertaining mystery for fans of stories set during World War II. This is a delightful World War II mystery. Many World War II tales center on London, so it was refreshing to get a peek of what it was like on the home front. Poppy is very independent. I thought she was a great character. I also liked Griff. Poppy was attracted to him, but couldn't quite decide whether this was a good thing. My review. If you like stories of wartime England, World War II, small villages, plenty of suspects, clash of cultures, rivalries and jealousies, and murder, this is just the read for you. Poppy Redfern is plucky, full of contradictions, and assisted by an imagined sidekick and sounding board. Definitely on my list of authors now. So, a little bit of reading here to give you a taste. This is from early on in the novel, just before the bodies start piling up. We start here early on in the novel, and Poppy Redfern is back from London and working in Little Buffenden. It was reassuring to walk down Little Buffenden's quiet, empty high street the following evening. The soft, country summer air was exquisitely sweet after London's thick, clinker dust atmosphere. But the simple stillness of an August evening was not mine to enjoy for long. "You're back from your London training then, are you?" Enid Glossop's voice, pitched to carry, reached me on the other side of the street. I didn't quite flinch, but she certainly stopped me mid-stride. "I would have thought the least they could do was have your uniform ready in time for your first patrol." "Come on, Bess, let's get it over with. And remember not to jump up," I said to the little dog running at my side. We crossed the narrow street to stand before a tiny middle-aged woman wearing a Royal Mail issue beret pulled down in the front, almost to her eyebrows. "This is my uniform, Mrs. Glossop," I said with what I hoped was a face composed to express polite nothingness. "That's it?" Disbelieving eyes swept up to my black pudding basin helmet with W stenciled on it, and down again to heavy lace-up ankle boots. "What does the W stand for?" "Warden. Air raid precautions, a warden." "I see." She looked like someone who suspected she was being lied to. "I know you say it's a uniform, but it looks like that outfit Mr. Churchill wears when he's being photographed on bomb sites." Her mouth performed a tight imitation of a smile. Mrs. Glossop has a way about her that always manages to convey dissatisfaction. "Yes. He borrowed the idea from the air raid precautions. Siren suits are all the rage in London these days." I could have sworn you were on your way to stoke the boiler." Pursed lips and regretful eyebrows as she gave my uniform a second chance. "It's a shame they couldn't have come up with something really smart, like the Auxiliary Territorial Service. The Bradley girls look smashing in theirs." The last thing I needed was comparisons to the wonderful Bradley sisters, who were having the time of their lives up in London with their permanent waves and Elizabeth Arden Victory red lipstick. While they were driving high-ranking officers in and out of the Admiralty, I was clumping about the village in my size 9s as little Buffordon's first ARP warden. "Have you secured the blackout in your cottage, Mrs. Glossop? We must be even more careful now with our new American airfield." "I most certainly have, Mrs. Redfern. I'll do it before I leave the house in the morning." She turned away to lock the door of her tobacconist and sweet shop, which doubles as little Buffordon's post office, and I mentally flipped to the third page of my ARP training manual. Section 2A, on dealing with difficult members of the public. Remember, an ARP warden holds a legal position of authority. Speak in a firm tone and engage eye contact. I am not naturally assertive, but I had learned a thing or two in my weeks of training in London. I looked directly into Mrs. Glossop's fierce little eyes and held her gaze. "I'm sure you don't want me knocking on your door when you're enjoying your evening cocoa," I said with as much severity as I am capable of, and, summoning a more convincing tone of command, "We can check your blackout right now." I extended my left arm in the direction of her cottage at the bottom of the high street, as if I were directing traffic. And to my amazement, all she came up with was a retaliatory, "That dog should be on a lead," and she put her shop keys into her handbag and snapped it shut before falling into step beside me. "Not one aircraft, ours or theirs, has flown over our village since the start of the war, but I'm sure I don't want to be the cause of our being bombed." I remembered the smoking rubble of East End Clegg Street when I had last seen it in the early hours of this morning. "You wouldn't believe what one 500-pound German bomb could do to our little village, Mrs. Glossop," I said as we walked down our high street, renowned for its pretty Georgian shop fronts and bow windows. Even with the neglect of wartime, it is the sort of village that looks perfect at Christmas, with a dusting of snow and carol singers exhaling breathy clouds as they sing Silent Night on the church porch. All this, I waved at an ancient stone horse trough and the white veranda of the Edwardian cricket pavilion on the edge of the village green. All this would be gone in a flash, reduced to blackened timbers and broken brick, just because a Luftwaffe pilot saw a spark of light on his way home and ditched his last bomb. I didn't belabor the point by adding that the new American airfield would increase our chances of an air raid by 80%, and my job is not to cause panic. She gave me a quick sideways glance, her face disbelieving. "Mrs. Glossop is the one who informs in our village, not girls with mere 2 weeks of ARP training." I'm surprised that your grandmother agreed to your taking on this job, walking around the village on your own at night. That little dog will give you no protection when the place is swarming with American airmen." She opened the diminutive white gate into the postage stamp of a front gate. "I am not sure there will be enough of them to swarm, Mrs. Glossop, and my Uncle Ambrose still talks about his years in New York Post as his happiest. I think a change might wake us up a bit." My suggestion, designed to jolly her along, was instantly shot down by a pitying look. "Bert Pritchard says he won't serve them in the Rose and Crown. He says he had more than enough of them in the last war." I bit the inside of my cheek to stop myself from smiling. Bert Pritchard, with his ebullient welcome and his lavish moustache, was a particularly good businessman. He would remember the day the American Army Air Force arrived in Little Buffenden as heaven sent when he balanced his account books a month from now. I followed Mrs. Glossop up the crazy paving path between the rigid lines of vegetables growing in her Victory garden. "I feel sorry for anyone who has a daughter in this village, because from what I hear, those Americans are go mad. That's what Mrs. Wantage told me. Her sister's daughter is seeing a Yank, and she has become a right handful, out all hours of the night, and talks back something shocking, as if she's asked to do the slightest thing around the house." Mrs. Glossop pushed open her front door and looked over her shoulder. "Stay," she commanded, and Bess dropped to the ground and lay arrow straight, her long nose resting on the path well ahead of her front paws. She knew Mrs. Glossop didn't appreciate dogs, and her tabby was an old battle-scarred Tom with a short fuse. It was dark in the narrow hall, and I could see, even from where I was standing, the last rays of a subdued sunset through the uncovered front parlour window. "Blackout before electric light," I quoted from the ARP manual as she lifted her hand to the switch on the wall. "I could have sworn I closed them before I left this morning." Mrs. Glossop darted to the window and dragged a heavy curtain across it. "There now, that's better. Fits like a glove." She gave it a final twitch to cover a chink in the corner. I was careful not to catch her eye. "I hope you are coming to our talk in the village hall on the air raid preparedness. We are going to organise the best place for everyone to go for the shot. I was planning on an evening of bingo." "Oh, good. Come half an hour early, 6 o'clock then." I was given a reluctant but acquiescing nod, and heard her sigh as she followed me back to her front door. "It's a crying shame your grandfather had to give up his house and all his land for these Americans and their airfield. It's not as if your family didn't lose enough in the last one." She meant, of course, the death of both my parents, Clive Redfern in the Great War, and my mother at its end just 2 days after my arrival. Mine was not an unusual fate for my generation. I was the only war orphan in our villages, but one of many in England. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and it gave you a little bit of taste. I like the minor characters. Certainly, Glossop puts me in mind of very much P.G. Wodehouse, and maybe that's where it came from. Who knows? But it's just a wonderful name. I shall leave you with some fascinating videos from the home front. For more videos like Night Watch, 1941, and ARP Post 23, 1941, British Home Front World War II, go to an excellent YouTube site, the Home Front. Their site address is below. Thank you.
That's some of our family. There's about 800 of us. Quite a big family to look after. You see, I'm the post warden for this area. Not a very large one, perhaps 20 streets. It stretches from the hospital in East Street to the school in West Street. Some 800 lives under our care, all sorts and types. Yes, and we're all sorts and types too. This is Mary Gates. She works the telephone at the post. And that's not just sitting around and saying hello, hey Mary?
Well, I'll say it's not. I learned that the first night I was on. Well, I must hurry. See you later.
So long, Mary. Now, Jim, how's things? Off to the depot?
Later, Bert. Dropping off for one at the Queen's Arms first. A thirsty farmer never did put out a fire, you know.
I'll join you. We'll find most of the gang up there by now, I expect.
Beauty.
Hello.
Hello. Now, leave me 57.
You can have.
57 again. 17 double 20. There's the 17. There she goes. Right into the top bed. Any more fares, please? That's me a nice pipe for little me.
Okay, chap. Cheers.
Money for dripping in it.
Those are two of our chaps playing darts. The bus conductor is Wilkins. The other chap is Sharp. He's a clerk. Failed to pass his medical, so he volunteered for civil defense. We're all part-time wardens here. My job's constructional engineering.
Tom, these cigarettes?
The chap who's asking for cigarettes is Williamson, an architect. A bit of a change for him. Spends most of his time seeing stuff knocked down. Says his chance will come after the war. He's talking to Lewis, who's a stockbroker. His mind used to be full of bulls and bears. Now he's discovered there are human beings in the world, too.
Ah, I could do with this stamp for my album.
All right, let's have a look at it.
Ordinary people, ordinary jobs, ordinary interests, and ordinary pursuits. They were the ones who rallied. They came together and created something new, the civilian army, the army of men and women defending freedom as they see it. The army with no bands or banners, the people of Britain. Night after night, they turn out to guard their own villages, their own towns, their own buildings, and their own homes.
Bus overturned in Woodside Avenue. Road completely blocked. Number 2 Kelly Street demolished. Gas mains alight. 3 casualties removed to General Hospital. Test message ends.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Well, Mr. Morris, this is a change. Where do you come from? Oh, a spot of leave, that's all. Only till 12, though. But we've got an addition to the family.
Huh?
A bouncing boy.
What?
And I thought I'd come in and let you know there's one extra in the house, that's all.
Okay, mate. We better chalk him up. Right, that's not it there.
That's how it is. Our post becomes more and more of a community center. We get to know the people, and the people get to know us. They bring us their difficulties and problems. What used to be a collection of individuals has become a friendly community.
Boy, I suppose, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Well, bye-bye.
So long, man.
Goodbye. all.
Ciao. There she goes. Well, let's get out. Lewis, Wilkins.
This is Post 23, Miss Gates speaking. Air raid message read. Our strength is 15 wardens and 3 messengers, and the time is now 20:55.
Funny how things change. You know, before the war, I hardly knew a soul in this neighborhood. Used to come home from the office every night and leave again in the morning. Home seemed a sort of refuge in the middle of a hostile world. Now, well, I feel I know every household, every family in the area. I feel I belong to this neighborhood, these people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Some of my pals belong to clubs and societies and things like that. They sometimes ask me to go along too, but I don't know, I backed out, I couldn't be bothered. And then, well, these raids started and well, I felt I'd better do something. So I volunteered for this job. And now life's quite different. I've got a stake in the place. Responsibility for the people in it. In fact, life's become much more important altogether. Well, chum, let's go and see what's happening outside, eh?
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Look out!
a near one.
Oh, I didn't like that.
Looks like Southport Street. H.E.
Crikey, that's where my pal lives.
Well, nip back to the post and tell Mary to report to control. We'll be going.
Air raid damage, express casualty report, post 23E11. Southport Street, junction of East Street and Miller's Lane. Some trapped.
This is Elf's house, all right?
Trap casualties down the bottom of the stall. Come on, lad.
Here, what do you got? There's a family buried here somewhere.
Oh, no, we'll let them out in half again. Come on, lad. Okay.
Nothing spectacular, nothing specially dramatic. In the official reports, it's just an incident. But it's life or death for one of our families, and we shan't stop till they're got out. That's our job.
I've just about time for a shave and then back to the office.
Oh, another financial crash, eh? I'm to the garage. The elephants and poles and the butter. And if all fares, please.
This evening, same time, same place then.
Okay, I'll
So long.
Ciao. See you later.
Yeah. Let's drink me tea. Blimey.
Well, I think I'll go and make a cup of tea.
That's a good idea.
Looks like a quiet night. Better get some sleep.
Yes, I could do with some after last night. Come on, sweetheart.
Who did that? What's in your mind, mate?
Well, I've been thinking about the gaps between the houses. What comes down has to go up again, you know.
Not like it used to be, I hope. Not with all those slums and tenements.
That's just the point. We've got to see that the job's done decently this time.
Yes, but how? Do you think we can do anything about it?
Well, why not? If we can work together now to look after the lives of the people here, I don't see why we couldn't work together afterwards to clear up the mess and help build a better world in which these things can't possibly happen.
I'll second that. It's people like us that have been doing the work of the war, and it's people like us that are going to do the work of the peace.
Well, that's our post. Probably there are lots like it all over Britain. All sorts of lads, different classes, different types, most of whom never thought of themselves as taking on responsible jobs. The qualities we've learned from comradeship and common suffering are not going to be wasted after this war. It's out of experience like ours that the new world will be built.
She's all dressed up, aren't you? Smart. Isn't she smart, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait a minute. I bought some new shoes. They don't half hurt.
New shoes always do, don't they, Evelyn? Still, what's it matter as long as they're smart? Going up to town?
Yes. Bill's last night of leave. We're going out to supper and then to the picture.
Cool, aren't you lucky?
Well, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice time.
Hello, Sally. How you keeping?
Okay. Isn't it wonderful, Bill? The whole evening together. I told Mum I wouldn't be home till late.
Well, Sally, it's all off tonight.
Why, Bill? What's up?
Well, we're moving off tonight and serve tomorrow morning. I've only got about an hour.
Oh. Well, anyway, we've got an hour together. Let's make the most of it.
All right, we're going to have something to eat, shall we, somewhere?
No, it's a waste. I'd rather go for a walk, really.
All right. We'll find a nice quiet spot, eh? Let's stop here for a bit, shall we?
Yes. No one comes along here except shopping.
Good. There's a bloke out for a stroll.
Never mind, Bill.
He's coming back. What's the idea? Backwards and forwards this time of night.
It's a warden on patrol. He'll be up and down for hours.
Well, let's find somewhere else, shall we? There's no warning on. Why doesn't he go home? Come on, Sally.
Just coming. Oh, Bill, I wish you didn't have to go away.
Never mind, I'll soon be back again.
I know somewhere we can go quiet. Those offices in Nelson Street. There's never anyone there at night.
Well, that's the stuff. Let's get a move on, shall we? Uh-oh. Here they come.
What do, Bill?
Linking footsteps again.
IFS men going on duty.
Yeah, this is getting funny.
I wonder what the time is. There must be somewhere quiet. Not too far away, Bill.
Down here, this looks quiet.
Oh, Bill, I know it's no
Now,
good.
come on, trust me. Oh.
There you are. I told you it was no good.
Well, how was I to know?
Well, you might have looked first to make sure instead of wasting time.
A pity you didn't think about the fireman just now.
Are you trying to make out it's my fault?
What's the idea of trying to make out it's mine?
Oh, Bill. Don't let's waste the time quarrelling.
Okay. Sorry, Sally.
Okay. Sorry, Bill.
Come on. Maybe there aren't quite so many people around the other corner. Blimey, is the whole world out watching for us?
It's a good thing they are, really. You haven't been here when there's a blitz on. Only half an hour left. I know. Let's go in the park.
Okay, come on.
Where are you off to, chum?
Well, what's that got to do with you?
Sorry, I have to patrol the park, you know.
Oh, yes, of course. You had to patrol in this particular spot, don't you?
All right,
Oh, come
Don't
on,
take
Bill.
on now. Don't
It's no
take on.
use. Must be 1:45 by now.
Don't you two know there's a warning on?
Is there a warning? I didn't know.
Now, look, why should we be the only two not hanging around tonight? Everybody else seems to be. And when you go off duty, you'll go home to your wife, won't you? Well, me and my girls only got about an hour.
And half of it's gone.
Well, there'll be plenty of shrapnel falling, if nothing else. I think you'll be better off under cover.
That's a matter of opinion. How, old soldier, eh? Where'd you get that, Gallipoli?
No, Ladysmith.
Oh, Bulwar. Blimey, that takes you back a bit, doesn't it?
Well, I'm getting on patrol. Well, the guns have started. I still think you'll be better off under cover.
And I still think that's a matter of opinion.
He means Ladysmith Road, doesn't he?
That's right, miss.
That's our road, Bill. I mean, it used to be our road when it was there. I thought I recognized you. That other gentleman was the one that got me out.
That's it, miss. We got a whole lot of you out that night. He got the George Medal.
Oh, that's the ribbon he was wearing.
Oh, Diddy, I am glad. He deserved it, Bill. He did, really.
Well, Sally, you never tell me anything about that.
He was hurt ever so bad, your friend.
Well, I must be getting along. Now, don't keep around in this, soldier.
I think he's right at that. Come on, Sally, I'll see you home. Come on, let's run for it.
Okay. Bill.
Look after yourself, Sally.
Okay. And you will write, won't you?
Of course. Sally, you got a warden patrolling the street?
Yes, of course. Why?
Well, I'd just like to know there's someone to see you're all right. Well, in case anything happened. Listen. Footsteps. Sounds like a warden, too. I'm beginning to know the steps by now. Yeah, it's a warden, all right. Well, no, I shan't mind leaving you quite so much. Sally, I better be pushing along.
Yes. You mustn't be late now. Goodbye, Bill.
Bye, Sally. Well, good night, chum. Good luck.
Same to you, mate. Good night.